Alright guys, figure review of Miz vs. Alex Riley Battle Packs. The Miz is not anything too new. He's got his original Angry Scan. A lot of people saying this is a re-release, but this is actually slightly different because it's more of a pinkish red than the original red one that came out. But overall, not a huge difference. If you don't have a Miz figure, it's a good one to get. These packs are about $20, pretty much wherever figures are sold. Just depends if your store gets them in. This is, of course, Alex Riley's debut figure. I thought they did a good job on the scan and the attire. Got his A-Riley logo on the boots there, and Riley on the back. Of course, they gave him the briefcase that Miz carried the WWE Championship around in. Nothing inside there. Again, the scan's pretty good. The only thing I could really knock on this figure is that I think the body should be a bit bigger. He's a bit bigger than the Miz. But overall, this is a really cool set if you like Riley, and you get an okay Miz figure along with it.
As always, the WWE followed up their huge pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble, with Monday Night Raw. Let's take a look at my thoughts on this past Monday's Raw, January 30th, 2012. So after a huge pay-per-view the night before, of course, as always, we got Monday Night Raw. Now, of course, the biggest thing on the show was set up last week, and that was John Laurinaitis' job evaluation by Triple H. And of course, everybody was just ready for this boring son of a bitch to get the fucking boot from the game. Let's see what happened on the show. Ace was doing everything, and by Ace I mean Johnny Ace, which was John Laurinaitis' wrestling name. So sometimes you just hear me refer to him as Ace. But Laurinaitis was doing everything to save his goddamn job. He came out to the top of the show, slapping every hand around ringside, shaking hands with King and Lawler. This motherfucker was shucking and jiving, trying to keep his job. But of course, CM Punk didn't let his little rant go on for too long. Which of course we got a Laurinaitis fuck up of epic proportions in the Elimination PPV. Just really terrible. Of all the things to fuck up, you fuck up the name of the next pay-per-view. You know, like, could you fuck up something that's not important? Jesus. But of course, CM Punk was right there to come out and start chopping down poor Johnny Laurinaitis with the Na 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 song and just cutting him down, letting him know that the end is nigh for you, Laurinaitis. And I really love John Laurinaitis trying to shake hands with CM Punk. I mean, Jesus Christ, even Vince didn't bother trying to shake Stone Cold's hand. So I always get a kick out of little things like that. Like, Laurinaitis is so delusional. He just still tries to smooth things over with Punk, even though Punk has already given him go to sleep and everything else. And of course, the best thing we got out of that whole first segment was CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan match getting set up. What a great match. I certainly don't always agree with such a little build-up to a match like that. Obviously, they just announced it off the top of the show, but because this is the Royal Rumble follow-up show, I think it was an excellent time if you're going to do something like that, because a lot of eyes are on that Monday Night Raw, because everybody's not shucking $45 for the Rumble. So they're going to watch Raw, and this is the Raw to put some big shit on if you're going to do that. Now that Randy Orton is back from injury, of course, we get our mandatory once a month Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler match. Now, don't misunderstand me. It's always a good match, but keep that in the back of your mind. Pardon me. As the months roll on, keep an eye on Monday Night Raw, because it's pretty much a guarantee that once a month, Randy Orton will face Dolph Ziggler. And during that match, Wade Barrett was up in a skybox giving commentary. That was kind of a unique and cool way to do the commentary, having the other superstar be away somewhere with a third announcer asking him questions during the match. It was pretty interesting, and I hope we get a little more like that. It was really interesting. What I liked the most, though, was Wade Barrett saying that he should have went down the flight of stairs when he originally injured Randy Orton, and should have thrown him down not one, not two, but 3 more flights of stairs just to make sure. That's what I love about Wade Barrett. He always has something interesting to say. Always has something entertaining to say, even though he is a heel. And of course, it's always vicious. Like I said, wanting to throw Randy Orton down 3 more flights of stairs. What an asshole. We got more of Ace going around backstage, and of course, he bumped into the one and only William Regal, and he started asking about his kids, and William Regal was very saddened to inform us that he has conjoined twins that he keeps in the attic, and they don't get out too much. William Regal, much like Wade Barrett, is always good for a hilarious and dark line like that. I really believe William Regal should be the 3rd mic on Raw, much like Booker T is on SmackDown. He would add a lot to the program. As much as I like Jerry the King Lawler, I really don't like the team of Lawler and Cole on Raw. But I think William Regal would inject his own brand of comedy and break up the monotony of Cole and Miz. So, WWE, could you do that for me? And of course, the actual match itself between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, what a great wrestling match. I hope these two get an opportunity on a pay-per-view to have a full match. I'm pretty sure everybody kind of figured that we wouldn't get a clean finish with champion versus champion. I mean, they really don't like to put one guy out ahead of the other, even though it's pretty much accepted Raw is the higher brand. But I mean, this was good. It showed both guys are pretty much on an even keel. And even by the time Chris Jericho ran into the match, it wasn't obvious that Punk was going to win, and it wasn't obvious Bryan was going to win. Punk kicked a high kick to the head of Daniel Bryan, and Chris Jericho finally showed his motives. After all our time of waiting, and after he let us know last week that the Rumble would be the end of the world. Well, he lost the Rumble, so it certainly wasn't the end of the world, but he certainly wasn't afraid to bust a code breaker right on CM Punk. So we didn't get any more words from Jericho, but he certainly showed that he's targeting CM Punk. If that's the deal all the way to WrestleMania, then we are in for a hell of a WrestleMania just between Rock and Cena and Punk and Jericho. So already building up to an excellent, excellent show. And we found out this week that Mike Tyson will be joining the Hall of Fame. I personally have no problems with this. He did a great job of promoting WrestleMania 14. He put in several dates through that time, almost weekly on Raw. He's probably the most deserving celebrity going into the Hall of Fame. Certainly even over Pete Rose, who's had a few appearances. This guy actually helped WrestleMania get a huge buy rate. And I hope he gets more chances to work with WWE in the future, because he always cares. He's much settled down now than, of course, he was in his boxing prime. And I really don't see how it could hurt anyone involved. He loves wrestling, and pretty much wrestling loves him. So I have no problems with this. Happy to see Iron Mike going into the Hall of Fame. We got a match this week between The Miz and Kofi Kingston. Now, Kofi Kingston had one hell of a moment at the Royal Rumble. He actually was almost eliminated. He went out head and arms first, but he ended up doing a handstand as The Miz tried to eliminate him and getting himself back into the match. So, of course, that led on Raw to a match between The Miz and Kofi Kingston. They had an okay match. Nothing to really knock about the match. But I was actually happy to see Kofi Kingston get the win. Now that we kind of know Air Boom is pretty much done, even if Evan Bourne does come back, it's unlikely Air Boom will be reformed. But I think Kofi has really earned his chance at a main event singles run. He did a great job versus Randy Orton in that feud. I really don't see... I understand he had a few mistakes here and there, but I thought his performance in that feud was really good. And I think 2012 should be the year they give Kofi Kingston another chance at the top. He got the win here on Miz. He looked great doing it. I really don't think he's going to win the Elimination Chamber, but I think he'll have a good performance. The Chamber was announced to be Jericho, of course, Punk, Miz, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth, and someone else who's slipping my mind just at the moment. The only way I really see that going down is Punk or Jericho, but I'll get to that on another show. Of course, on this show, they kept it reasonable, and we only got The Rock's WrestleMania preview video. I thought that was a better idea. More times than not, Raw fans are on the side of The Rock, and it was good to just see his video on Raw. Then we got a waste, like I was talking about in the Rumble review, of Eve versus Beth Phoenix. Now, Eve versus Beth Phoenix is pretty much the best match you can get other than Beth versus Natalya. And they just completely fucking wasted it with, I don't even know that it was 20 seconds of a match between, and Beth just ran over Eve pretty much. And I understand they were trying to work it into Eve as, distracted with Zack Ryder getting beat up by Kane and everything, but when you have a different diva or something, it just really felt like a waste. A waste of those two's abilities, even with the Kane storyline. I really feel that Kane should have interrupted their match rather than just have a shitty match between Beth and Eve. Beth is so much better than that, and even at this point, Eve is so much better than that. And of course, not exactly what I predicted in the Rumble episode from last week, but not too far off. I predicted that after Kane would get the win at the Rumble, that perhaps we would get Cena stalking Kane. Now, thankfully, we didn't get anything quite as corny as that, but after Kane came out to terrorize Eve after her loss to Beth Phoenix, John Cena came out to make the save, and he put a hell of a beat down on Kane with the steel stairs, and eventually Kane got the fuck out of the arena. This was not too bad. Cena got to show his edge. It didn't drag on through the whole night like the Ryder tire change debacle. Let Cena look tough. Let Kane look tough by taking so many shots before he got the fuck out of there. And we're on our way to a good match at Elimination Chamber. Usually how this goes is most likely going to be a last man standing match. Anytime Cena starts busting the stairs on someone, that's usually the route it's going. But I have no problem with that. I think those two will put on a hell of a fucking last man standing match if that's what goes down in Elimination Chamber. And of course, we got our big segment of the night. John Laurinaitis job evaluation at the hands of Triple H. And Triple H put Johnny Ace through the fucking ringer, I'll tell you that much. Possibly threatening him with the Kiss My Ass Club. Gonna put him in gauntlet matches. I mean, Triple H was putting it on heavy on Ace, and he was looking a little hot under the collar there. And seconds away from Laurinaitis getting the boot, wouldn't you fucking know it, The Undertaker returns. Now, I, of course, predicted this for the Rumble match itself, but you gotta give me credit, I was pretty fucking close. He came out, of course, Triple H dropped the whole thing with Laurinaitis. I mean, who gives a shit then? You got the fucking biggest legend in WWE history coming down the aisle, staring you right in the fucking face. Taker wanted another match at WrestleMania with Triple H, even though he didn't mention it. Of course, he just looked at the WrestleMania side and looked at Triple H like, huh? You want to go one more time? Gave him the cutthroat, and Triple H didn't give a fucking shit. Gave him a little pat on the shoulder, said, he didn't say anything, but through his body language, he expressed that, who cares, buddy? I already did that with you. I actually feel a little sorry for you. I'm gonna leave. So we'll see how this plays out. Do we need to find out that he doesn't want any more to do with The Undertaker? Or is it that he's got nothing to prove? We'll have to find out in upcoming weeks. But overall, a great episode of Raw. Really, Beth and Eve is the only real thing that really, really disappointed me on the show. And I can't wait to see the upcoming story between Jericho and Punk. The mic work should be excellent. Even though I can see why some people wouldn't want another Triple H versus Undertaker match, you can't deny that 2 previous WrestleMania matches are pretty fucking great. So if that does go down again, I hope it's not Undertaker's last. And I can't wait to see how Undertaker lures Triple H into that match. So overall, a great Raw. We come back, TNA, Impact Thoughts.
Now available on eBay. Click the link in the description.